Hey, I'm Chris Parsons. I'm the host of The Last Click. I'm super excited again to be here. This is the third episode of The Last Click, and I have Roger from Browns Shoes on the call with us today. I'm so excited to have you. You and I had the pleasure of doing a short podcast together. I promised you that I would get you on to more longer form one, and here we are a month later, and I am truly honored to have you. The conversations that we had just meeting each other at eTail Toronto were fantastic. I think you and I share a lot of common insights and are willing to explore, test, and learn all of those great things. I would love for you to give our audience an intro, Roger.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Chris, again. So yeah, I'm Roger Emeka. I am the Director of Customer Experience at Browns Shoes. So customer experience obviously has gone through a rebranding, so to speak, but basically I handle everything that's contact center, customer feedback, and trying to reduce friction through all our touch points and working with all our departments to really be the voice of the customer.
I love that you call it customer experience and not customer service. And
hmm
I think that's a huge, even though that's what everyone strives to is customer experience, but just labeling it that way as customer experience it changes the culture internally. Like customer service feels like you're just reacting
Exactly.
to to a problem or an opportunity. And by labeling it customer experience, gets everyone on like accountability throughout the organization about creating that experience for a consumer. It was that intentional.
Yeah, it definitely was intentional, and I think you're seeing it throughout the kind of e-commerce space, or B2C space, or like consumer product goods space, where again, customer experience, like you said it really well. It brings everyone along, and I feel like our role as customer experience leaders is, yes, we have all these types of signals that we use to measure the customer experience, but ultimately our job is to measure those signals and bring them back to leadership, to other departments, to make sure, hey, like this aspect is causing friction. This aspect is hurting churn. This aspect is causing people to not want to come back, and it could be also internally through our customer service team, or our customer service agents, where we have to improve on those aspects too. But to your point, it brings everyone along, and we become kind of the department of accountability, the way I see it now.
Yeah, I love that. It's a big opportunity for organizations to not rely on sales anymore and the race to the bottom on price. And you spend so much time and energy acquiring new customers that a lot of times you forget to be grateful and thankful and appreciative for the customers you do have and make sure, hey, before we go and invite a bunch of new people to our business, the ones that have been with us from the start, are we treating them with the dignity, respect that they deserve? And the fact that you're doing that with the name of it and the whole organization buying into treating a customer, I love how Brown Shoes and your team is executing on that brand promise.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate it, Chris. Yeah, and to your point, I think everything now is about AI. Which we definitely leverage. We have a chatbot on the website, but I think ultimately you're seeing a reverting back to, hey, like I want to be serviced well. I want the agent or associate to reference my name. I want them to know that I'm a, new customer, or I'm a customer that maybe has a high LTV. And those are one of the things we strive to do within our agents. We want to go back to being a bit more personalized, where we reference their name. We know that they're a new customer. We know that they're a high LTV customer. We mention that. So it's a lot of bringing the kind of old school service to also leveraging data, putting data
Right.
in front of the agent or in front of the associate, so that they can better communicate and speak with their customer when they're in a store, or when they're on chat or phone or SMS, or whatever channel.
Yeah, yeah. So it took us about 3 minutes and 20 seconds to talk about AI,
Record.
and and maybe this comes with one of the first questions I wanted to talk to you. We'll see if it comes up again throughout the conversation. I'm sure AI will, as it's just kind of relevant, and I think it's now kind of integrated into everything we do. What's the most unconventional business decision that turned out to be a brilliant idea for your brand?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Like from an AI perspective, or just in general?
From just overall, it could be AI that you've started to test and learn, and or It could be any in-store experience that you thought was, "Hey, let's take a risk here."
I think kind of what I alluded to, one of the things we realized is like I just mentioned is our agents referencing customer names or like one of the things we have within our QA with for our team leads is they have to review every single, or not every single, but quite a few interactions from the team. And one thing that came out of it was that, hey, like we see a higher customer satisfaction when we reference that it's a long-standing customer, or we make a very clear note that it's a customer with like a high LTV, or a new customer, and so we're even able to track like repeat rates on some of those customers that we interact with, and we notice that they it just feels like they are more ingrained with our service, more ingrained with our brand. They have a
Mhm.
higher likelihood to come back because we're handling that. A lot of the data that we look at too from a CX perspective, one of the things we recognize was if a customer fills out like a net promoter score survey, well, we realize that customers who are rating us maybe lower, they actually have a higher repeat rate because we are handling those interactions with, maybe more care, or maybe we're providing them with a coupon code. We have a better win back strategy on those. So that was kind of an insight that we realized, well, let's double down. Yeah, maybe it's interesting that our detractors have higher repeat rate, but let's double down on that to make sure that they come back. So I think for us, it's just leveraging the data and looking at unconventional insights that allow us to maybe double down on certain experience metrics, and those are two that I could think of right now.
Always found with Net Promoter Scores that my best customers were also my most critical customers, and
Mhm.
what and it didn't scare me, it was like, they're forcing us to raise the bar. Whereas a new customer coming in might have been great with the great lights in the store, or the fact that an associate came right away and asked them. So they had maybe a lower bar set because of some poor experiences at another retailer, but my core customer always wanted me to keep leveling up.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, and I think that's what we see as well. Like we have really passionate customers. We have customers who care tremendously about the brand. It's a legacy brand, 7 years old, tons of stores, so they definitely care. And I think for us, we make sure that every single review, be it Net Promoter Score, be it Google review, Trustpilot, so on and so forth, we reply to all of those. I think we see it bear fruit in our experience, and in what customers say about it. They really appreciate that, the fact that we are listening to them and we're taking the feedback very seriously.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
how do you balance the being authentic with a brand now that's been around for 7 years and has a specific kind of brand feel, kind of brand promise in the marketplace, but you also have the pressures to continuously innovate?
Yeah, I think for us, for at least our team in customer experience, we're quite authentic. We don't try to be too scripted when we're talking to our customer. We allow
Mhm.
our CX agents to really be creative. We obviously give them some guidelines in terms of how to speak to them, and as I mentioned, we QA as many interactions as we can. But I think that, working with our marketing team to kind of ensure we have that right voice and right feel, we give that liberty to our agents to if you want to provide an extra discount code, go for it. If you want to, just act in the best interest of the customer, and we see from a retention standpoint that'll definitely help. We don't want to be too ingrained in policies and too ingrained in SOPs to the point where, we piss someone off. If we
Yeah,
realize someone was not done right, like we're gonna make sure that in whatever way possible. Maybe we can't 100% do exactly what they want, but we could definitely, my philosophy has always been you have to have the customers back.
right.
Whether it's been like at Brown Shoes, or I've done that at Frank and Oak, it's have the customers back. It doesn't always mean that you give them exactly what they want, but give them something so that they see that, hey, they have my back. I'm willing to come back. And I think that's a big way to factor in retention with regards to CX.
Yeah, I like that. I remember early on in my career, marketing, I wasn't running customer service, but marketing owned customer service at the time, not customer
Mhm.
experience, customer service. And they had SOPs on how to deal with calls coming in. And the opportunity there was the SOPs were written 5, 6, 7 years ago. processes change, procedures change, technology change, but those SOPs and how they dealt with customers still stayed the same. And you were like, wow, we now actually offer online shipping. So can we leverage the e-commerce team to ship the
Mm.
shoes or product to the customer? That wasn't written in those original SOPs and they were never updated. So it was like, if you're going to rely on SOPs, man, those things need to be updated consistently with the maturity of an organization.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, and I think that's where getting the feedback from the customer. It's like I've always been a big flywheel person in terms of you have an action, you get the feedback, you analyze it, you bring that back into your organization to understand like
Yeah.
what's working, what's not working. So from a voice of customer perspective, it's not just surveying that we do. It's also just looking at Google reviews. It's looking at the interactions within the call center. It's every time we implement something, we listen to the customer, we see how they react to it so that then we can, say, hey, okay, the feedback's good. Great, we can keep doing this, or this is not resonating with them. Let's pivot and let's change.
Yeah, I enjoy that. I also, from my experience, what I started to do the last number of years running big retailers was really engage with somebody like a cattle, where I can go out to do surveys with customers and get pulse. They call it rapid response surveys,
Mm.
but I could go out and I can get the pulse of the customer every month, every quarter. Make sure that we're not tone deaf to a change in political views or climate challenges or
Yeah.
whatever, you name it, because we build our marketing calendar so far in advance that if I felt by doing these pulse checks with consumers, it gave me the confidence to pivot when needed to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like we saw like we'll see something in our data that says, well, why are customers communicating to us about this or that? And it's like, well, we've added a change within our ecosystem, within our journey to make sure that they don't need to communicate with that to reduce the friction, and it was still happening. So one of the things I told the team was just let's just have the agents ask the customers, hey, why are you guys still reaching out about this or that?
Right.
Let's actually get the feedback on how they kind of understand and go through the journey. To your point, surveys will only take you so far. Sometimes you just have to actually talk to a customer, ask them specifically in a real setting, not just a link to a survey, where they put in kind of their response, but also they're like kind of trying to rushing to do it. You're interacting with them already. They literally called you and asked you, "Hey, why
Yeah.
haven't I received XYZ?" Ask them afterwards, "Is there any reason why you didn't get this? You weren't able to find it on your own. Did you get these emails?" And you'll be surprised the type of insight you have. So I think pulse checks are really good. Myself as a CX leader, I'm still listening to calls, listening to interactions. I carve out time every single day to make sure that I'm looking at X number of calls, whether written or voice, or like written like chat or email or voice calls. So I think that's imperative as a leader. You have to keep doing that.
Yeah, I agree. It's Sam Walton wrote in his book, "The best ideas came from walking the store," and same thing with a customer experience team. The leadership should be in tune, listening to those phone calls, taking nuggets from them. I mean, you look at Amazon today. Amazon actually takes customer phone calls and puts it into ratings and reviews.
Yeah, totally. And like I'm talking just about CX calls, but same thing with a store visit. I think that's one of the things I love the most about Brown Shoes is like we very well make sure that anything we implement, we also say, hey, like go visit a store. If we're gonna build something, go visit a store, see what the store associates think. Let's get their feedback on whatever we're building or looking to implement because they talk to so many customers live and they see what they like and don't like, and then they're also able to match that with the actual product. Right, that's like the most important thing when we talk about this. Like we're still selling product, right? So how do we match CX? How do we match retention? How do we match store associates with the fact that customers are coming in and actually talking and touching about the product?
Yeah, it's so true. I think it touches on the next question I had for you, which is in an organization that's growing as fast as yours has and has this great online experience and in-store experience. You have a lot of opportunities with operations, staffing, customer service. How do you make sure there's a consistent customer experience across the different channels, whether it's physical, digital, and And how do you bring that to life, whether it's through change management at the home office or communication to all teams instead of operating in just a customer experience silo?
Great question. I think one thing that helps is that CX, sales, our staff training team, they all report into the same leadership. So that definitely helps. So instead of having silos, you have recurring meetings, recurring touch points with all those same folks. And I think one of the big things our CX team has kind of become lately is almost like a data. We're almost like a data analyst, really. Because we get all the feedback, whether it's errors, issues, complaints, we're actually bubbling those up. We're creating reports for district managers, for store managers, for sales directors. We're creating reports for staff development. We have a big both buy online, pick up in store, or we ship
Mhm.
we ship from store. So we have a lot of that data. We have a lot of those metrics. How often are we shipping something in full or not in full, and we're sharing that on a consistent basis with all those teams. So they have visibility on what they're doing well and not well. I guess from like a tone, authenticity standpoint, I think that's kind of having an ideal customer journey. And that's also having a vision of what you want your CX to be. How do you want customers to be interacted with? How do you want them to be greeted? And then that's where kind of NPS and voice of customer comes in play, where we ask specific questions based off what we set the CX strategy to be. So yeah, the NPS number is fine, right? Like you always want to grow your NPS number, but like that's not the goal. The goal is for what are the customers saying specifically about your experience, and how can you ask questions in a way where that flywheel is activated so that you get feedback, you bring it back to the rest of the departments based off that feedback, and you can know whether you're doing well or not.
And then executing based on that feedback. I know I was
Yes.
been part of organizations in the past that would go out, check that box. We did an NPS, we did a survey, we got feedback, check, but no one did anything with the next 6-12 months of a roadmap to satisfy that for the customers. So customers at some point they give up giving you responses because if you're gonna ask and then not show that you have the follow through, they're done.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was telling someone yesterday, like the CX role is it's not a director of finding signals. Like the signals are what kind of feeds into the roadmap, but
Yeah.
then you have to act on it. And to your point, you have to execute on it. So we take like I mentioned earlier, we take various signals from different spots and different areas, but you have to act on that feedback and you have to bring those signals to the various people, and then you have to follow up with them to make sure, are they actually acting on those signals? Are they actually doing them? Are they actually putting action items into them? And I think the most important thing, and I've referenced this internally as well, is speaking the language of rapport of the department that you're sharing the signal
Yeah.
with. So if you're working with the operations team or the logistics team, well, speak in dollars, speak in percentages, speak in issue rates. If
Mm.
you're speaking to the like the sales team, like, can you measure NPS and conversion rate as an example, right? Like those are
Yeah.
things where they will really care if you're speaking their language of report versus just customer satisfaction and NPS scores.
That is I mean, I've touched on that in a couple of speaking engagements that I've had where historically I have a title on LinkedIn, but what I wanna put up there is I'm a generalist, and
Mhm.
why I want to be a generalist is I want to understand merchandising, operations, logistics, so when you're having those conversations, you can really motivate, influence those departments to what you're asking. Because if you don't have enough knowledge of those departments and what you're saying to them, it can go over their head. You could be, without intention, insulting them. So
Mhm.
for me, being a generalist in the industry and understanding all of those departments and what they're trying to achieve, what their goals are, what their bonus structure is,
Yeah.
understanding all of that allowed for me to come up with recommendations that
Yes.
felt that I was on their side, but also accomplished what I needed to within my department.
Yeah, I think there's an aspect of also humility to what you just said, where, especially when you come into a new company, you have a tendency to want a big game hunt, like, hey, let me fix everything. But I think you have to
Yeah.
kind of focus on low hanging fruit, understand other people's concerns. I think CX is a lot about one of the things in the CX space you want to ask is what are some of the friction points that we can help you uncover as a department, especially because all the friction is coming here. And how could we help you to make the best out of your department? I was lucky enough, I would say 7, 8 years ago when I was back at Frank and Oak, I started
Yeah.
out as a head of CX and I had a great opportunity and I took it to be head of CX and logistics and fulfillment. I had no logistics and fulfillment experience prior.
Yeah.
So like I had a huge amount of imposter syndrome when my boss at the time gave me that opportunity. But the thinking behind it was like, look, you're kind of you're it's the same type of employees, hourly employees. It's the post purchase journey, and the way you measure that friction and whatnot, it's very similar, right? So that gave me a great understanding of the post purchase experience and tying CX to logistics, and I think that's it leads itself to, I think other leaders and in other companies to, merge CX with other departments as well because it really creates a great 360 view.
Yeah, I had this experience where our customer service team was getting asked, "Why is grass seed not available to buy online?" And the merchants were desperate for it's a short season to sell grass seed. I mean, you get it a little bit at the spring, and you have to then wait till the fall to
Yeah.
sell more. And we couldn't understand why from my e-commerce team why it wasn't available for the customer. So we got onto just an email and asking the warehouse, why is grass seed not available to be sold when we sell all kinds of big items? And they were like, well, it's non-conveyable. And we took that as, okay, that was the answer. It's non-conveyable. And I, I was like, no, I can't do this. So I said, can I tour the warehouse and understand what non-conveyable means? And we were walking the warehouse and I saw bags of mulch coming down the conveyor. I saw
Yeah.
other items coming down the conveyor and I was with the merchant. And I was like, "You're able to sell these things. Why is grass seed?" And the staff honestly, and this is not I'm not blaming anyone, but we get into our own routines. Non-conveyable simply meant that items were in a different warehouse that didn't have a conveyor. So I was like, well, why don't we move that item to this building and move another item out because there's a
The
bunch of
essence of
seasonal stuff
logistics.
and it solved the problem and or
Yeah.
the opportunity, however you want to call it. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is where from a customer experience, we're letting down a consumer because of internal language versus
Yes.
getting up out of our seat and just going and having a real conversation with each other.
Yeah, like our customer doesn't, excuse my language, give an F about non-conveyable.
Non-conveyable.
like what like what does that mean? I think that happens a lot where you like that happens to me sometimes where you use internal nomenclature with customers like communication. It's like no, you got to simplify things and good on you and whoever to have gotten that feedback to bring it to the warehouse team.
I mean, we were all maturing together. E-commerce was relatively new for that organization, and but it did serve as a great example moving forward.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
So,
totally.
what I want to talk about is in retail, we use this term like the 3 meter rule or 9 foot rule of when a customer comes in the store, let's make sure we engage with them right away. Brown shoes may not have the same rule, but definitely the customer experience when I walk into a Brown shoes location is the staff is always making eye contact with me, even if they can't
Yeah.
get to me. But on the other side, because we're focused on the last click here, there's this thing I call the final 10 feet, and maybe I should turn it into meters instead of feet, since we're in Canada. However, the final 10 feet of getting a customer to convert, where do most footwear apparel brands fail in the final moments of a digital customer journey?
Great question. I think I could see that being social reviews, especially if you're maybe a newer brand. Do you have that ability to say, hey, like all these customers have bought from us and they absolutely love this product as well? I think that's important. I think shipping and the logistics, if you're very ad hoc or very vague on your timelines when a customer will receive that item,
Right.
that can have that we've actually seen it, that can have a big impact where if you're kind of sandbagging it or you're very aggressive, but if you're going to be very aggressive, you actually have to back that up, which, again, we have a push and pull with our customer, with our logistics team, with our ecom team, and with CX to make sure that we're kind of communicating internally for that aspect. I think those are ways where that can impact conversion and clicking. And then I want to go back to reviews because, yeah, if you're, I don't know about you, Chris, but when I'm shopping for stuff, especially if super technical, I get into the weeds of, I go on Reddit, I use ChatGPT now. I
Yeah.
am really researching certain things. Like I bought a one. I tend to travel with one backpack, which my wife hates sometimes, but
Okay.
like it's like a 32-liter Thule backpack, and I love it. I went through so much research to do that, but I had to see, like, what do customers think about buying that Thule backpack at a specific site? What are the reviews? Is it going to ship on time? Is there product defect? So I think ensuring you have that, review system in place, or that like good feedback in place about the entire journey, I think really helps when people are about to buy.
Yeah, it's funny enough, I'm looking over here at the side of my table because when you said backpack, I also did a ton of research on a backpack because I'm going to so many conferences and I
Yeah.
have to carry my laptop, my
Yes.
podcast studio, everything with me, and I didn't want something weighing down on my back. I wanted to be comfortable, and also if you ever leave your laptop powered on like I do in my backpack, it can get hot on your back really
Yeah.
quick. So I wanted something that would alleviate that kind of that uncomfortable situation of my back feeling, like, all sweaty, and anyways, it's funny that you use that as an example, and I did a ton of research on a silly backpack versus, like, you would think it's on a buying a new car or something, but I probably did more research on a backpack than I did on my vehicle.
Yeah, and like now LMs are huge now from a review standpoint. Like it's something I never thought of, but I'm also reviewing products in ChatGPT or Claude, and just coming up with, okay, like, is this a reputable brand? Like, what are some of the issues? Do they ship on time? And I definitely think that has an impact on customers. Like when they're right about to check out, but that certain doubt hits in and they want to do maybe that one last check or one last research. Those are all things I think that are super important.
Yeah, I don't know if you had a chance to download my, white paper called AI MOD, the AI Moment of Discovery. I'd go into depth on how consumers are leveraging chat, and a couple of the examples I use, like, back in the day, if you wanted to go to the mall, you'd walk into the mall, you would stand in front of the kiosk to find out where your favorite store is, and hopefully you could go through the 3 layers of Yorkdale Mall and be able to find where you wanted to go. Now you can say, "Hey, I want to go to West Edmonton Mall here, and I wanna get a haircut. I wanna go to, I don't know, Structube as a store to look at a carpet. I wanna go to the food court, and I'm craving, I don't know, sushi today." And when you put that in there, it will tell you where to park at the mall. It will tell you, "Hey, by the way, don't get your hair cut first because then you're gonna have to eat with hair all over yourself." Like, it is a different type of discovery happening on agents than it is, because I could have done the same search years ago on Google search
Yeah.
or any of them, and it would have told me, "Here's the directions to get to the mall." This tells me where to go, what to do first, in what order. Like, I don't think customers have yet to understand the power of leveraging agents for their shopping experience.
Yeah, and like I agree. That's a funny story because I even, like, for the two last e-tails, I even like kind of put my wardrobe through ChatGPT to be like, does this all match? Like,
Right.
yeah, I like bringing like some on cloud shoes because I like make sure I run, like I get like a morning run and whatnot. So it's like, yeah, like this makes sense. Maybe swap out this and that. Like for sure, like agents are huge now. Like I said, we use a chatbot on our website. It resolves a good amount of our tickets, but the possibilities are endless. I think from a shopping experience, I think Shopify recently did some stuff with like the agentic AI stuff where you could literally buy directly through ChatGPT. And even for retailers too, like with Claude now, you can plug softwares into Claude and
Yep.
you can prompt Claude to analyze that software that you're using, and then prompt Claude to make suggestions right? Like that's we're just scratching the surface with like what we could do.
I know there's been a lot of negative press recently about AI and leading people in the wrong direction, or even, I don't know if you saw at the graduation in the US where they used AI to announce names and it
Oh,
missed half the graduation. And
terrible.
I think it's testing and learning, but we got to make sure that if we're testing and learning, we're learning internally and we're not learning with customers,
Yeah, for sure.
because we can't have them be the guinea pigs on what we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I think I don't know. Already, I'm starting to see a pushback on AI for certain things, like like graphic design, and I am already getting like seeing some AI fatigue with like some friends I have in the graphic design business or in the art
Right.
direction business, where they're like, "Hey, like, can we kind of get back to like actually creating stuff, not using AI?" Because it's very clear, and even like a lot of the like sports sites I see on social media are using AI graphics now. I'm like, what are
Yeah.
we doing? It's like AI slop. Like it's very clear. Like if you're like Fox Sports or TSN, like guys, you guys have a lot of money. Like you use actual like graphic designers to showcase like your athletes, you know?
I think the AI journey is gonna be much like the QR code, and the QR code was a pain in the butt when it first
Yeah.
came out. You had to download an app to just be able to go and then scan something, and then it kinda disappeared, and it's now matured and found how it kind of fits into our day to day, and I think we're all gonna test and learn and see what AI does, and maybe graphics right now, it's not mature enough for it, but it we will find it will find its place probably over the next 5 to 10 years, maybe sooner, but it is a bunch of, no one really knows the answer right now, and if someone tells people like any of us that they have the golden egg on this, run away.
Yeah, for sure. Totally.
Uh, the area I want to jump to, as I try not to have podcasts go a lot much longer than a half hour, but I really wanna ask you a couple of key questions is, one is, what customer behavior shift has most surprised you in the past year regarding how consumers finalize a purchase?
I think I think there's a shift towards back to retail, back to brick and mortar for sure.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing, customers who buy in both channels, they are maybe a higher likelihood to repeat or a higher likelihood to come back. Whereas, you just can't focus on one channel anymore. And I think after COVID, people want to try on things. They want to go back into stores. They want experiences again. Uh, versus like before that, it was like I don't want to have to speak to anyone. I didn't want to have to travel anywhere. And I think that's good for us because that means more foot traffic. It means people going back into experiences. It means people hopefully less return rates too if you're going into the store. But that's kind of the one of the shifts I'm seeing is just people wanting to come back into store and a willingness to maybe try things on more so than just buying online.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've touched on this in the last couple of conferences is, while we want to have these targets for conversion online, whether the sale happens at store level or at online, it really doesn't matter. Are we growing our organization is the question we have to ask. And we all know that people are leveraging, I don't even think it's up for discussion. We know they're leveraging social, Reddit, ratings and reviews. They're doing their own research. And if they happen to come in because they wanna make sure that the shoe fits and they make that final purchase decision at the store, that's okay. It doesn't discredit any of those other channels and that flywheel you talked about. It's just in certain products, certain categories, like, I know if I wanna buy a black T-shirt from RW Co., I never need to go to the store level to buy that T-shirt because I know my size, my fit, the style, no problem. But if
Mhm.
I wanna go and look at some of the new seasonal fashion and their new fits, I'm gonna go into the store and try on those pieces versus something that's more consumable.
Yeah, and I think we even as fast as we ship, people don't want to wait. So people will
Right.
still want to
So
travel. There's so many like I'm very impatient and for me my kids are playing a lot of sports now. Like I want to go to the sports store. I want them to try it on and I want to get it right away because we want to use it. A lot of us are more and more impatient now and I find and even if we're shipping within a day, same day shipping exists, there's a need to kind of go into the store and really feel it. And I think another thing is just being able to shop in all channels. Like you said, it all channels, right? Not specific to brown shoes, but just in general, you're gonna start seeing more and more buying on TikTok, buying on Instagram, buying on social, buying on various platforms. You're gonna have to be able to buy in any channel and ship to any location and be available in all different facets of order types.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to be able to buy off of TV shows. There's a lot of a lot of
That's
Viking
gonna come
shows.
back.
I would like to buy some of the stuff I see from some Viking shows. It's like I don't know why I'm on this kick all of a sudden, but I'm like, how do I get to that? That's pretty cool. Uh,
Yeah.
it's been great chatting with you. I do have one last wrap up question here, and that's about you. You've been doing this for some time now. You got great experience, very logical thinking. Is for the next generation, what's some advice that you can give? I like wrapping up with a question like this because I want anyone listening to this to find good nuggets and takeaways and not just have a half-hour conversation pass by with no
Yeah.
takeaways. So what's a piece of advice that you can give to someone listening right now?
I think understanding the business is super important, especially in e-commerce, especially in retail. Speaking with all the departments, understanding how everything works, understanding how whether you're in CX, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in operations, understand how every single facet of the business works because you have a better understanding of how the customer behaves and the customer journey. And I think it infuriates, and that's why what I love what we do at Brown Shoes is everyone cares about the customer experience. So, having that like seat at the table for CX, it's we don't have to worry about that. Like we already have that seat of the at the table. But I think other departments too. It's in any industry, it's really important to understand and focus on the customer journey, but learn what other departments are focusing on and what makes them tick.
Amazing. Roger, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day and being with me on episode 3 of The Last Click. I will put your contact details below on the description so folks can reach out to you. It's a pleasure as always, and I look forward to seeing you at a conference very soon.
Thanks a lot, Chris, and thanks for having me. Go Habs, go.
Go Habs, go. Awesome.